You're gonna laugh at me when I go into the actual podcaster mode.
Alright.
Hello and welcome to the Studio Meala Podcast. Joining me on the podcast this time is Cora McKenna. Cora, hello, welcome.
Hello. Welcome to you also.
I'm glad to be here.
I didn't laugh while you did your intro.
That was very kind of you. I assume you hit mute and guffawed loudly while I was...
I did a physical mute. I covered my face with my hands.
Red-faced, spluttering.
I spat out my drink in the opposite direction of the mic, though.
So, Cora, you are, correct me if I'm wrong, an animator and director.
That's true. According to people at Meala, anyway. They don't know my other professions.
Can we talk about them?
No.
Okay.
I can't. I strictly can't talk about them, actually.
But what we're allowed to talk about is the fact that you directed stuff. We're going to talk about that stuff. And you've animated on stuff. And we're going to talk about that stuff as well.
Oh, no.
Okay? No, I'm sorry, but that's just the way it's got to be. Okay? We've got half an hour to fill, and that's it. Okay?
Yeah. That's fine.
So, you directed Shergar.
I did. You said it right as well. Did you practice saying that?
No? How are people usually saying it?
A lot of people saying sugar.
But it's not. It's not sugar though.
In
that
Danish,
sounds like someone has glanced at it for. And
oh
didn't
yeah,
get very
I know
far.
Irish people who call it sugar. You know, it's just sugar.
Oh man.
You know.
I thought maybe Sheergar. I'm just trying to think of other ways to say it wrong.
The sheer gar of it.
So how did Sheergar come to be?
I don't even know. It just kind of happened one day, and I was in control of it all. No, it was my graduation film. So with like 9 other people, so 10 of us in total, we made the sugar film. And it was great crack altogether. Great old crack in the animation workshop in Denmark is where I studied. But
nice.
I also studied in Dublin and Ballyfermot for a year, so can say I went to Ballyfermot, went to an Irish college. I think that's also technically why we won at the Irish Animation Awards, but Shergar is technically a Danish film, but we were in the Irish student category, I think. So, bit of a cop-out. Or, no, it was just the student film category, but I think it's normally just for Irish student films. So, sneaked in there a little bit.
Did you raise these concerns, or were you just quietly
absolutely
accepting?
Not. Absolutely not. When you get into any kind of awards, you say nothing. You don't question why you're there. You don't bring up any alarm. You sit in the audience.
The Irish Animation Awards this year. Congratulations on winning that award.
Thank you.
For sure, yeah.
Quite the show this year. If anyone was
I feel we should talk about the Irish Animation Awards, but I feel it's only right to we'll talk about Shergar before we move on to that. But we will get there. And if anyone listening to it thinks, oh, they never came back to that Irish Animation Awards conversation, we did, but I just had to cut it out.
We have to censor everything.
So with Shergar, a story with a horse. Now, famously, horses are one of the most notoriously difficult things to animate. Was that something that you were thinking about going in as like, I'll show them? Or was it halfway through when you thought, oh, I see why people say that?
You know, it only really happened because I love horses, and anyone that knows me will attest to that. So I've been enjoying drawing and animating horses for quite a while now, and the way I pitched the film to my classmates was, it's a film about a boy, and there's a horse in it, and you don't need to worry, because I like horses. I'll just do all the horse stuff. You don't even need to worry about it. Of course, that wasn't the case. You know, plenty of horse to go around, but yeah, that was the deal. You know, people, I think my friends trusted me because I knew horses. I wouldn't make it too hard on them. And, you know, everybody loves a good horse. It's a good challenge.
It's a beautiful horse.
Thank you.
You mentioned that it was a grand old time. Was it a fun...
Was it?
I mean, I'm just so used to every story about every animated project being, oh, it was a nightmare. So, was it a positive experience?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it was relatively good. I mean, I don't think any project is without the challenges, especially, I don't know. It's an interesting case we have in our college because it's kind of like you're split up and you have actual roles. Like I was the director, there was an art director, a production manager, like animation lead, all this kind of stuff. And you're kind of trying to figure out what that role is while you're doing it. And that's always a bit turbulent because we have, you know, you don't have any clue really what you're doing because you haven't worked in a studio. But you're all kind of figuring it out. And the college does a good job of like, you know, showing us and explaining like how, you know, your responsibilities and stuff. So it's for sure like not without it. It's ups and downs, but I think generally overall it was a great experience. I don't have anything bad to say like about the actual time we had making it. Really, it was good fun.
Well, that's great to hear. I mean, feels like a very lucky thing, a very rare thing. yeah, for sure. I think especially like in graduation films because it's you all kind of own the thing. It's not, you know, it's like I'm pretending to be a director, but it's not like, you know, I don't actually employ you or anything, so I don't really have a say on anything you do. It's more of a like, let's pretend situation. And like we all, you know, own the film kind of, you know, it's not like it's only my idea. It was like everyone's ideas was in there. So it's a bit of a weird one. And there's such a big clash. Well, not a clash, but sometimes a clash happens, but a big like mix of personalities. Yeah, it's a very unique situation in that, you know, ultimately you are all on equal footing, which doesn't really happen again outside the student world, because if anyone is telling someone else to do when you're all students, there is going to be that voice at the back of your head saying, you know, we're just sort of playing pretend here, and I'm not actually obligated in any way. I'm not going to lose my paycheck by telling you to go screw.
Yeah, it's kind of the last point where like everyone is on even footing. Like, you know, like nobody knows any better than anyone else. You know, even though I was the director and kind of calling the shots on stuff, it's like I didn't really know any better than anyone else, though. You know, I didn't have any more experience or anything, so that was definitely a tough one. But I think that what made it really great, though, is like my team really did trust me in that way. Like it took, you know, a couple months or something to like settle into like, oh, I tell people what to do, kind of. And they were like, yeah, tell us what to do. And it's like, oh shit, no.
Well, the end result was beautiful, particularly that a somewhat abstract scene in the middle. And
what is that? But, what happened to you?
When you were animating and directing on the same project, what takes up most of your time?
In general or on that project?
In general.
It kind of changes throughout the project. Like, generally in the start of a project, as a director, you have more time to make creative decisions and, I don't know, decide how things are going to look or whatever, you know, if you're doing kind of pre-production-y stuff. But then towards the end, it's like some days you're just constantly reviewing stuff all day and giving feedback. Like, you'd be surprised about how much time that takes, especially if you're kind of practical like me and you like can animate and you can draw and you can actually give like practical notes and stuff. Like some directors, they're not as practical, like animation, they're in other areas, so it's kind of just final review stuff. But I think me and Sean are kind of similar in that way, that we can actually like draw on notes and like give, you know, animated feedback per se. And that takes up a lot of time. And then just a lot of, I don't know, it's different every day. It's all kind of random stuff.
When you've done directing work, does it become easier or harder to be directed on other projects?
I don't think so. I think it gets easier, to be honest. Like, I don't know. I've got that question in an interview before, and it was before, like, I've mostly directed like smaller, my own things, and then just now we finished with Meala episode of Pen 15, which is gonna come out soon, and that was the first time that I was directing something bigger than anything I'd done, and like wasn't my own thing. And I had an interview even before the Pen 15 thing, so I had only directed reasonably small things, like my own ideas, and they were still like, would you have trouble taking feedback, because you're always, you know, the one giving feedback or something? And it was like, no. Like, why would that change that? I don't really get that. I mean, I think it makes it easier because you kind of understand more. Like, I think the one frustrating thing about getting feedback is not agreeing with it, or sometimes you have to make a change that in your opinion makes it crappier, whatever you're doing, or simplifying stuff and therefore making it crappier or something, or just getting a stupid note from a client that, yeah, it's gonna make it shittier. But I think now, having come from the other side of that, you get like the silliest requests, and it's like, okay, I understand now. Sometimes you have to do really silly things, but it, you know, doesn't really affect me at the end of the day. You know what I mean? So yeah, the long-winded answer is no. I don't think it makes it harder.
You mentioned Pen 15 there. That's a very exciting thing to be directing.
Yeah.
How did that come about?
I don't even know. I applied for a job at Meala. I don't know what I applied for, maybe cleanup artist or something, or animation. And then I think Sean and Stephen had seen Sugar. So bless Sugar for opening so many opportunities. Yeah, they saw Sugar and they had me in a call, and they were just like, yeah, I think you should direct stuff with us. But it was funny because I was in the call and I thought, oh, maybe they're just going to offer me a job or something. They didn't really say what this call was supposed to be for. And then at the end of the call, they're like, yeah, we'll get you into directing roles. And it was like, sorry, what? Like, I don't even work for you yet. Like, okay. I don't know if they had Pen 15 in mind at that time or not, but too good of an opportunity to say no to. I was a bit out of my depth for sure in the beginning, but like I learned so much and had loads of support from the guys. So it was a fun experience, and like I think it was the biggest project that Meala had taken on, and definitely for me the biggest team that I'd ever managed before as well. Quite the wild ride.
A good experience, would you say?
Yeah, definitely. Like I think I learned the most out of any project I've worked on this one.
You've also directed a Meala mini, Gay Werewolves in Space.
Yes.
Wolves do seem to be a recurring thing.
Yeah.
In your work.
I will refuse work if it doesn't have a wolf or horse in it.
You worked on Wolf Walkers, did you?
Yes. That was also a great time.
That's got to be a great thing to be a part of, especially after seeing how well it's been received. And
yeah, absolutely. And it's a little bit sad, actually. Like, I feel like it was received really well, but it could have been received even weller. If we had not been confined to our living places while it released, kind of. Just really unfortunate timing that it didn't come out when we could go out and see it in the cinema, really.
Yeah.
It was really limited.
That's a film that deserved full cinemas.
Yeah, and such a great crew that worked on it. In fact, I'm still waiting for the rap party. It's gonna happen.
Of course.
Rap party for Wolfwalkers. I'm still holding on to it happening. A good, 2 years after it was done.
We're still waiting to have the party for Meala winning the Best New Studio at the Irish Animation Awards.
Yep.
Another fun thing about those awards was Wolfwalkers sweeping it, but no one feeling any resentment whatsoever, because it's just like, absolutely.
Yeah, it's like, Wolfwalkers is in the category. Good for them. Like, they got this.
So, about the Irish Animation Awards.
Well.
So, you were somewhat behind the scenes. Well, as behind the scenes as it gets. You were in a Zoom meeting, waiting room, I suppose.
Yes.
So, I can tell you what the experience was like from outside,
Please.
but what was it like on your end?
First of all, I didn't know that we were all going to be in a Zoom. I guess there was like 50 of us, maybe. Like, everyone who's nominated that showed up. A lot of well-known faces. It was really fun. And then, the usual, like, people who don't know to mute their mic, people who don't know how to do anything.
I was going to ask, was everyone automatically muted? Because if not, then surely that would have just been a cacophony of background hum and people off screen asking, what do you want for your dinner?
Exactly. Like, there was a guy in his car who was luckily muted, and I don't remember who he was. I definitely took a screenshot of him at one point, but he was in his car and driving. When his category came up, he got out of the car on the side of the M50 or something and like stopped, and then kept going again. And I really wish he would have just kept driving and got the award, and he would have had to pick up and keep looking at the road while he gets the award.
That's real 80s business kind of style, isn't it? Like, I just can't stop moving. Always moving. Always be closing.
Always moving.
Oh, like,
it was
I'm
very
supposed
funny.
to be getting an award, but I'm not going to stop.
But I'm not going to wait half an hour.
While everyone else is sitting there on Zoom, I'm going to be still making things happen.
In fairness,
I'm getting
he
ahead
knew,
of the competition.
though. He knew, because I also thought it was going to be like, all right, this is going to take like 40 minutes. We're going to sit here. My category's going to come up, and then we go or whatever. But then it turned into this whole thing, and like people weren't there, and some shit happened because like the presenter couldn't see us, and we were watching the live stream. They didn't have a live feed. And then some people didn't show up, and then one of the people announcing one of the awards started announcing an award before the previous one had been given, and then nobody knew what order anything was in. So me and Sean and Cleana were like in a chat together, and we were like, who's next? And like, are we next? Like, do we know? Can I get food? Or like, what's going on? How long is this intermission gonna take? And then, I don't know how long it took, maybe like 2 hours or something for the whole thing.
Yeah, I ended up dipping in and out because I thought, is it not happening?
Yeah. There was like an intermission that was a little bit too long that made you guess, like, are they just going to call it quits?
And I was so looking forward to it all being uploaded to YouTube. And the fact that it was being broadcast on YouTube meant that, the whole video will just be available as soon as it stops.
A VOD.
But someone behind the scenes was definitely like, absolutely not, get that offline.
Delete.
Immediately. So I was lucky that I was filming the screen for at least the Meala win.
Yeah, it was a good night.
It was. You also worked on Primal, which is another very... I mean, the list of things I'm looking at here, every single one of them is exciting. Wolfwalkers, Pen 15, and Primal. That's an amazing looking show. To be a part of that must have been great.
Yeah, I mean, I had a very small part in it, but it was still, like, really cool to see that show. I mean, it's a great show. I love it to bits. I think they're making a second season, actually. I did an internship there. So after we finish our graduation films, we go on an internship. So got an internship at La Cachette in Paris and did a little bit of things on Primal. It was interesting. I think I was definitely out of my depth a little bit because that studio, they're all like amazing animators. Like I think the first day that I got in there, Julien, the head of the studio, was like, yeah, we're just gonna get you to do this thing. It's just like an intro thing for Le Petit Vampire. It was for actually I haven't even seen the finished thing. Like I don't know what it is. It was like an intro for a TV series or something. And he just gave me this like rough storyboard, and it had like 2 characters and a crowd, and then it was all one shot, and the camera like whipped across, and they grabbed a ladder from a ship, a floating ship, and then they flew across the screen and then flew away in perspective, hanging onto a ladder attached to a ship. One of them was a skeleton and a woman, and then Le Petit Vampire, and they're like swinging, and I was looking at this thing, I was like, oh my god. I was like, am I just supposed to animate this?
I don't know like, much about animation, but that sounds easy peasy.
Simple stuff.
You could basically do that all in one big tween.
I do it in my sleep. I just press animate. Do the
first frame and the last frame and just hit tween.
And just hit go. You're done. Done and dusted. But we got there in the end, you know. Not the best thing I ever did. And I think that was for a couple days, and then I started on Primal, and it was like this guy left, but he had half his scene kind of done, but you need to kind of finish the rest of it. And it was like Spear, the guy in Primal, who's just like walking forward in perspective, and he's like really buff, a lot of anatomy and stuff, and I was just like not ready for this either. I was just like spent so long on this, and then like the animation lead ended up like just going in and fixing it afterwards or something, or it might have even been cut out, like I have no idea. So it was a good like, I don't know if it was good or bad. I think they should have given me way simpler stuff to do. I think they overestimated what I was able to do, but it was fun. But yeah, other than that, on Primal I did a lot of like some cleanup and some kind of assistant animating. So someone would kind of like do the rough, and I would like tie it all down. And that was fun. Everyone was quite nice there. Big language barrier though with French.
France, Denmark, Dublin. You're so international.
Wow. That is 3 places.
Something I love to ask each guest is, what is your dream project with unlimited budget, unlimited resources? Make whatever you want.
I know what it is. I think everyone that knows me knows I'm going to say this. It's Spirit 2. It's Spirit 2 by DreamWorks. It's a horse movie. It's Spirit 2, and it's like Spirit, but it's as good. And it's not a shit sequel. It's good. It's Spirit 2. And it's not Spirit Running Free or whatever the new Spirit remake franchise that DreamWorks made. That's an absolute awful thing, in my opinion. My opinion are not the opinions that of Studio Meala or any of that. I would definitely make Spirit 2 the movie.
I've never seen Spirit.
Well, I think that's about all I've done on this podcast then.
No, I'll have to put it on the list.
It's not that good. It's not that good, but it's great when you're 9. That's when it's great.
So
it's
would
great
your
when you're...
Spirit 2 be Spirit at its true potential? People saying it's
even
better than the first.
No, you can never make a sequel that's better than the first.
Terminator 2?
An animated movie.
Okay.
Arguably animated.
And before the comments explode, Terminator 1's great as well. Okay, I don't want any trouble here.
Yeah, just make it just as good as the first one. Just a nice, solid horse movie where the horses don't talk and there's no bullshit. There's no little girls or, it's just about the horses. Lovely animation, and that's it.
But does Spirit not talk in Spirit 1?
No. They make horse noises like horses do. Which is, I think, how all animals should be in all movies. Lion King fans, come at me. I feel like an animation person's answer to that question, though, would just be like, I just draw whatever I want, and I just have a massive budget for ages, and everyone will be happy.
I'll draw whatever I want, and then it'll move around convincingly for ages.
It'll move. It'll kind of look like it weighs an amount.
Yeah.
Or not. And it'll be funny.
Talking about dream projects in terms of animation it hardly matters what it is. It's more like what you're imagining is anything but with the time and money to make it beautifully animated because of just how inherently difficult and expensive that is.
Yeah. Just whatever you've liked, but it's actually really good. And you're happy because you have money to work on it.
Now, before we wrap up, I'm going to have to take an oblique strategy card from the deck.
Oh.
Let's see what we get today. Slow preparation, fast execution. Now,
this is like every animation project ever.
Yeah. I mean, ideally, animation would be slow preparation, slow execution, but unfortunately...
No, this is every client's pitch for every project ever.
So
we've taken a long time developing this. Can you make it in 4 weeks?
Yeah.
For €100.
This pitch Bible has been sitting in a drawer for 25 years, but we need the actual film made for tomorrow.
I'll buy you lunch.
I'll buy you lunch. Anything you want.
And it'll be great for your portfolio. It'll be great for you to do this. It'll be huge. Big for us, big for you.
So, slow preparation, fast execution. Have you ever worked on something that was the opposite of that?
Fast preparation, slow execution.
Yeah.
Maybe the gay werewolves in space. Like, that was very... Not that the execution of it was slow, but it was slower than how much time it took me to come up with the idea and just say, yeah, let's do that. But not really. That's not how it works in animation. It's always fast in the end. Faster, faster.
I suppose that's one of the nice things about Meala Minis is like it's rare in animation to be able to go like you just have that little idea.
It's niggling.
Yeah. So you
head.
don't have to think about a huge world and, like so much of this stuff that you'd have to really figure out long in advance. You can go, here's a visual I would like to do, and then...
Yeah, and it's quite simple. You can just do the visual, there's no pressure behind it. I think the minis are great.
Well, on that...
Wow. Wait, I have one more question for you, actually.
Uh-oh.
How the tables have turned.
Just, who do you think you are?
So I know that you've worked on this and this. How about you tell us about this? So the question is, would you rather be 2 motorbikes or 1 truck? Like an 8-wheeler lorry truck.
Oh, that is tough. Because it would obviously be great to be a truck.
Answer carefully.
Because, the appeal of the truck is just like blowing the horn, go down the road, and everyone's like, oh, wow, check out that truck, just Look at all that.
Was loud.
It's big and loud and strong. But they see the bikes. I'm imagining them zipping and zooming and pulling off cool stuff, you know. And you know, you could leave one behind, go out as the other. Do they have to be in constant? Do they have to be together at all times?
They're like sharks. They can't stop. Just bikes perpetually in hellish motion. I don't know. It's as simple as the question is. Would you rather be it? And there's really no rules otherwise. You know, it's really up to your interpretation what being is.
I've made my mind up.
All right, lay it on me.
I'm gonna go with the bikes.
Yes.
Because I've pictured the bikes going along like a nice coastal road around some hills and just zipping around.
Just
and
doing
I feel there's just a bit
stunts.
more freedom than the truck would have.
Interesting. More freedom. That's controversial. Will those bikes then be unvaccinated or vaccinated?
My God.
No, let's not go there. The podcast is going to get
I've admitted to
taken
so
down.
much more than I plan to.
I'm also 2 bikes. I'll say that.
Well, I will see you on that beautiful coastal road.
I'll see you on the M50. On the Autobahn.
Cora, thank you very much for joining me today on the Studio Meala Podcast.
Thank you.
A problem I've come into while editing practically every one of these podcasts is getting to the end and having absolutely no idea how to wrap up. I need to pay more attention while listening to other podcasts. How do they say goodbye and end it?
I had a good experience recently in a Zoom call. You know, you're in a Zoom call with like 20 plus people maybe, and everyone's saying goodbye at the same time. And it's like, bye, 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 bye. And then it kind of turns into like, of like everyone saying goodbye and waving at once. And that was happening. And then people start to like one by one go off. So then you can hear individual byes again. And then one person just went like, ah! And just like screamed into the mic at the very end and then cut out. So I think that's an option if you want to just scream.
So my new sign off for the podcast. Yeah. We'll try it
like,
now.
Bye, bye, bye. And then you scream.
Oh, Cora McKenna, thank you so much for joining me on Studio Meala Podcast. Everyone, please do check out Sugar and Cora's other work. It's beautiful work. It's amazing. And I'll see you all next time. Bye.
See you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye.